This St. Patrick's Day weekend, the Portland Bureau of Transportation wants to make it a lot easier for you to celebrate safely. From March 14th through the 17th, they're offering discounted taxi and rideshare service rides. So if you're heading to the Kel's Portland Irish Festival on the waterfront, ask any employee and they'll give you a taxi coupon good for up to $20 off one ride. You can also hit up PBOT's website for coupon codes to get $10 off one Lyft or Uber ride within our city limits. Remember, it's never safe to drive impaired, so either let TriMet do the driving or let PBOT help you pay for your ride home. More details at portland.gov/transportation. As much as we love our Portland, this city inspires some questionable beliefs and habits in all of us. For example, our irrational hatred of umbrellas. Try explaining that to literally anyone else outside our city who's experienced rain. So today on CityCast Portland, we're tapping into our comedy scene to discuss some of the most toxic Portland personality traits. And helping to share some submissions from our city's funniest people is comedian Jay Flewelling. It's Tuesday, March 11th. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. Jay, I feel like a toxic Portland trait is kind of like a bad habit that the city inspires you to take on, because it's like a thing that Portlanders do that if we probably did in another city, people would be like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
So you spend a ton of time in the Portland comedy scene and you've probably witnessed a fair share of bad behavior. How do you think that Portland inspires these toxic habits?
Well, I mean, I think Portlanders are more private people. A lot of people who move here are like, well, it's hard for me to make friends, or it's hard for me to break in. It might be the rain. It might be, the Willamette River running through our veins. Nobody knows. It also might be that it's just like everybody who lives here like has a group of friends and a D&D group, and it's like there's no room for new people. But yeah, so like that's kind of like the toxic trait that I pick up on for like most people. Like in the comedy world, there's definitely like a toxic trait of like what we would call burning the light. Whereas you've been given the light, it's time for you to wrap up and get off stage, and you just don't do it.
It's like the Adrian Brody effect.
Oh my God. His speech, like it was that.
Seriously.
That was the brutalist. That speech.
Well, before we get into the tape that you brought us, what's your personal Portland-centric toxic trait?
Okay, well, I had a couple of options, but, I kind of settled on, so I think there's like a Portland toxic trait across the board of we don't use umbrellas. I think that is not true, or like I am a reverse victim of that toxic trait where I do use an umbrella. Hey, Jay Flewelling uses an umbrella. Jay Flewelling does not want to be wet. Like, it's okay, Portlanders, and it's okay to let go of this rumor, or it's okay to just, with pride, have an umbrella. I love collecting umbrellas and just like letting people take them, using them, like, disposable umbrellas. I just like to...
Like a pen.
Yeah. I have in my house at the entryway, there is a beautiful vintage brass umbrella holder, and there's like half a dozen umbrellas, and I don't know about them. I want them to go away. I want them to have good, like a book, you add more life if you just give it away, let it be free.
So what I'm hearing is that your toxic trait is that you are defiantly an umbrella person, and you share this umbrella and you're spreading it around.
I'm fighting the toxic trait.
Can I give you the one thing that like I heard why people don't like umbrellas, and it kind of clicked a little bit? It's not, because the whole machismo thing about it is stupid. It's just like, shut up, But it's, someone was like, no, because if everyone had an umbrella, then we'd be poking each other in the eye with the umbrella. It's like having a big backpack, people are just like, ooh, with their umbrella. Yeah. And that was what they told me. And I was like, I could see that, but like, has it happened?
Yeah, the mindfulness of others for that to be the true reason for this
You don't
is
think it? Not
no,
buying it?
no,
Okay. Jay
no.
isn't buying it. All right.
Because another like Portland, West Coast toxic trait, if we're talking about it, is like this phrase that it's like East Coast people seem like they're assholes on the outside, but they're nice inside. And then in the West Coast, it's reverse, where it's like we seem nice on the outside, but truly inside, we don't care about you. So I feel like that is a stretch too far.
Okay. Well, let's get into the tape you brought. I want to
Mm-hmm.
hear other people's viewpoints. At the end, I'm going to share my toxic traits, and John has actually shared one, which is weird because I share that same. It's in my list. He just gave it
Mm-hmm.
to me, and I'm like, oh, girl, I know.
Yeah,
Like 100%. So I'm excited to share that. But first, let's go through what you've gathered from the comedy scene.
wonderful. Well, and it's also funny that you mentioned that you and John share one because one of our esteemed comedian guests chose one toxic trait that I was so close to picking. And I'm going to let you tell
Which one it
me
is?
which one you
Okay.
think I also share very deeply.
Okay. It's exciting. So the first one is from Adam Posse. Who is this guy?
Dude, he is Portland legend, comedy king. If you know him, you love him. He'll hug you like you grew up together. One of my favorite comedians in Portland is going to be featured on OPB. Like, he's incredible.
Okay. Here's what Adam had to say.
Hi, my name is Adam Posse, Portland's third funniest person, 2016. My most toxic Portland trait, among the many to choose from, I mean, what, you got my self-righteousness, my crave for attention, per my girlfriend, the fact that I'm prone to letting the dog take over the bed. My main, most toxic Portland trait is probably alcoholism.
Jay, is that one yours? Is that the one that you share?
No, no,
Okay,
no.
sorry.
I will answer that. No.
I mean, ouch, but also, you know what I mean? There's not a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
I
know.
mean, the delivery key. I mean, that's what you expect when you go see Adam do stand up is like he's got the role, he's got the tone, he's got the cadence, he's got so much material. He does, I think I can say this. It's like he did get a DUI. He told a story at my storytelling show. Shout out to Al's Den. But he, really endearing story about his struggles with alcoholism and finding humor in it, using it on stage, and then overcoming it and lifelong battle of like overcoming the alcoholism. So I knew that was coming. I'd heard the clip and
I have to agree, though. I mean, I feel like, especially moving to the neighborhood that I moved in, which already feels kind of secluded and, insular, I had to literally check myself and go, okay, I cannot go to the wine bar or to Slim's every day. And because it becomes like a rhythm of this is how I hang out with my friends.
Mhm.
But then I was noticing I was like drinking and I'm spending way too much money. And I was like, oh, I got to do other things. This is getting a little much.
Oh, 100%. I mean, like, I'm more of a cannabis user than a drinker. And so,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
since day one, I was like, how much for that cocktail? Water, please. Like, I have always been that person. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, there is a lot of alcoholism in Portland. I do think it would be if safe to say it's a toxic trait of Portland. The other day, went to a bar after a comedy show with a bunch of my improv buddies. It's just this packed bar. It's Friday night. And I kind of had this moment where I was like, oh, we all just like did a show and we did something and we put art into the world. And then we came here to have a drink. All of these people, this is activity number one. Like, this was their night. And I was like, that's sad. Or like, I don't know. It's just foreign to me. So,
Yeah. Well, no shame here because I know also our scene is just so bar forward.
yeah,
And I got to tell you, this is something that's very Northwest heavy. Coming from LA, I know people hate hearing this. I'm not saying Californians are better at all in any way. I'm
you
not
better
saying they're
not.
better. Hey, guys, I'm not saying that. Don't you email me and tell me I said that. But I had never had a drink before until I moved up here because that's all anyone like. They're just like, well, I'll see you at the bar. It's a different culture. Let's put it that way. So yes.
It totally is. Yeah. I mean, similarly, like in my early 20s was like, oh, I was camping. I didn't know. I didn't get the memo. Like when people are like, oh, well, this bar and that bar. And you've been there, right? It's such a fun one. And I was like, I haven't been anywhere.
And Jay, you're from here. So just to give you some perspective, Jay is from this area.
Thank you. Don't email me and tell me I'm not.
He didn't say that, okay?
I didn't say that.
I love how mad we are at this imaginary person who's emailing us.
Yeah. You hear us, Karen.
All right. Well, let's take a quick break here. When we come back, more Portland toxic traits with Jay Flewelling.
CityCast Portland is brought to you by D'Amour Law Group. Let's face it, sometimes bad stuff happens. A serious injury, a catastrophic accident, or even a wrongful death. It can turn your world upside down. When it does, you deserve unwavering support from a dedicated team. Yep, you need a lawyer. D'Amour Law Group has over 30 years of experience protecting the rights of Oregonians. Their team of skilled attorneys, led by distinguished trial attorney Tom D'Amour, will work tirelessly to make sure your voice is heard and your rights are protected. Here's what one of his clients said. Tom fights for his clients from the first day they meet him through the last day of trial. If you or a loved one needs help holding those responsible for your injuries accountable, contact D'Amour Law Group at 503-222-6333 or visit d'amourlaw.com to schedule a free consultation. They are committed to fighting for the justice and compensation you deserve right here in Portland.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
All right. Next up is Imani Dene. So who is she?
Imani Dene, Portland's up-and-coming star, stand-up star. She just did a Netflix audition show down in Los Angeles. She is taking the stages by storm. Absolute fan. Watch out for Imani Dene.
Okay, that just cracked me up. I'm sorry. You're like, she just did a Netflix audition. It's like, I just did a Netflix watching party at my house. Like, what the fuck? Okay, go on. Sorry.
In the stand-up world, that's like, it was huge. Yeah.
Okay,
so, yeah.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It's like you get on a show and they record it, and then it's like you could show up for like their 8-minute special, their 10 minutes,
Hey man, I'm not shitting on her. Imani, don't email me. I'm not saying. Cool it down. All right, go on. Let's hear it.
Hi, my name is Imani Dene. I'm a Portland comedian, and my Portland toxic trait is wearing black coats and jackets all the time. And it's a toxic trait because it's dark like 9 months out of the year in Portland. But black goes with everything. And even though I jaywalk heavily, I still stand by wearing black all the time. I know it's wrong because I could die, but I think that me wearing black actually helps everyone stay focused on the road. So, in a way, I'm promoting good driving by always wearing black and jaywalking. So, yeah, I do think that probably people in Portland shouldn't be all wearing black coats and jackets, but I get it. They go with everything.
That's such a real one.
Preach.
Oh my God. And it's something that I complain about all the time when I'm driving wearing all black. Like, I'm just like, I can't see you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the moment I'm out of my car, I'm wearing all black and I'm doing the same thing.
Well, and this also exposes another like kind of universal Portland toxic trait, which is pedestrians just not giving a shit about laws, crosswalks, the safety of their own lives. And it's so funny when I'm driving, it's like, wow, that was so brazen. But then when I'm walking, I'm like, hey, car, how dare you?
I know. I'm walking over here. Yeah, and it's because somebody told us, hey, in Oregon, every street is a walkway. You know what I mean?
At the moment a foot touches off of the sidewalk, they have the legal right of way. And I was like, who made that law?
All right. Well, agreed with a lot of things there. So finally, this is the last one. You brought this clip from Jed Arkley.
The one, the only.
So who is he?
Jed Arkley is an improv star, an improv icon of Portland. He's been doing it for I mean, going on 20 years. He's hilarious. He's also an actor. He has been in every Oregon lottery commercial that you could possibly remember.
Yeah. I'm going to look this up now.
Yeah. Every time there's like, oh, we're looking for, a comedic actor for the one job that's important. He's got it. You did just, Jed's auditioning. Okay. I can just go home.
Okay.
But he's awesome. He's hilarious. He's great.
All right. Here's what Jed says.
What's my most toxic Portland trait? It is very obvious and very intentional, non-eye contact with strangers. So, for example, walking down the street, somebody else coming my way. I'm not doing anything. They're not doing anything. But I just all of a sudden decide I cannot possibly make eye contact with this person. So I reach into my pocket, classic, grab my iPhone. But then sometimes I think I shouldn't grab my iPhone because then it's very clear that I don't want to make eye contact. So instead, I will then just pretend that there's something around that I need to look at, like a roof or a tree branch or something on the ground or a pothole, like I'm some sort of worker for Peabot or something like that. Like I've got something, I'm really, better check that out. Check out my knee, anything like that. So there you go. It's very shameful and it's become a habit, all because of Portland. I blame Portland.
Jay, wait, is this the one that you share?
This is the one. This is the one. As soon as I heard this, I was like, Jed. And Jed and I share the same birthday, so I'll chalk it up to that, where I was like, dude, like, I have the same thing. And I frequently, like, I'll visit New Orleans, and people look each other in the eye. Strangers, how you doing? What's going on? Hi. They greet each other. I'll come back to Portland, and I'll try and take that with me, and it'll last, like, a day or two, and I'm like, what am I doing? I will just do anything not to look at a stranger.
Oh my God. It's so funny that for me, I feel like I get intense eye contact. So whenever anyone's crossing, I do that little like, you just ate something bad, but you're trying to smile through it, And you're like, a little half smile. Yeah.
Yeah. And what I ate was like your personality, that person. Nope, not doing it. Not doing it today.
What about on a hike? Do you do the whole like, hey, you know what I mean?
That is 100%. I break that like urge and it is eye contact. It's hello. Because that's just is like, no, I'm not going to murder you. I mean, I'm a very large man. So it's just to put people at ease. And then they give it back to me. Then it's like, oh, they're not going to murder me. But then there are times when that's sort of like on an autopilot also, where I've like done that to people and it's like somebody I know, but I'm still like, I just didn't even really look at them, even though I looked at them and they're like, hey, Jay, it's Charles, your cousin. And I'm like, oh, hey.
I feel like we do that because we're just like, I don't know, you might be carrying me out of here. Like, we don't know. Do you know what I mean? I might fall off this cliff. You might be the only person in like the 1 mile area. So here, look, I'm a nice person.
Yeah,
I got a great smile.
We're in it together.
Please don't let me die. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm ready for yours.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to start off with John's because he actually shares a few of mine.
Okay.
So I wrote being annoyed at drivers when I'm biking and hating bikers when I'm driving. And of course, not really hating, but John, I think, explains it better, which is pedestrian excellence, cyclist excellence, and driver excellence. I switch how I feel about right-of-way etiquette based on which transit mode I'm using.
100%.
Oh my God. And even when I'm on the bus, I'm like, how dare you cut off the bus?
Yes.
You sick pervert.
Yes.
Do you know? And then when I'm driving, I'm like, get out of here, you dumb bus.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop every stop with you.
Originally, I was thinking about like, hating Washington drivers. But then it's like, no one's like, wow, Cincinnati, they drive so well. Like, no one says that. And so it's this like proximity issue of like, yeah, I'm on the bus, that jerk. I'm in my car, that jerk.
It's basically that. Okay. The other one is I wrote, I'm never comfortable weather-wise. Like, I'm always annoyed with the weather. And John actually, I think he honed it in. He's like, I'm only fully comfortable when it's between 65 and 72 degrees. That is the window of comfort. And I'm like, oh my God, me too. And it's so rare. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm going to have to diverge from the pack on this one.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I find joy in all weather.
Oh, Jay.
I mean, because everything offers like just a fun thing. And I like the variety, so I respect you, but I'm not on board with that one.
Okay. Here, I only have like a couple more that are very specific to me.
Yeah.
I'm not, just so you know, I roped in John on the other ones because he explained the feelings I was having a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But this has nothing to do with John. I just don't want him to I don't want him to sync with me if this doesn't land. That's all.
You don't
Okay.
want to speak for him.
Yeah,
Ugh,
no. Thinking that places aren't gay enough is a very Portland toxic trait. Let me try to explain it. I'm so used to Portland that when I leave Portland, I'm just like, ew, what's this? And it's just like people existing, not in Portland. Like,
I need examples. Like,
okay, let me tell you an example.
The Moda Center. I mean, like what?
It's a little straight. It's a little straight.
Very straight Moda Center. Yeah.
But I literally base where I'm going to go if I think it's like, if it's too straight, like I'm like, ugh. And I know there are other Portland queers that are listening and going, oh, 100%, 100%. But we're also really spoiled because whenever I have any visitors from out of town, they're just like, so is everyone gay? And I'm like, no, that is a straight father of 3 with a cis like straight wife. Like, no, but it's like, oh, well, they just had so many clues and stuff. I'm like, no, that's just Portland. And we're so spoiled that whenever I feel any kind of like stereotypical heteronormative behavior, it like irks me. And I think that's my Portland toxic trait.
Well,
does that make sense?
It does make sense. I hear you. I like it. I also do enjoy being like the only fabulous one in the room. That is
go to Boston.
Yeah,
Trust
that's
me.
a
go
lane.
to Boston.
That's a lane I can drive 65 miles in. But like, what are some places that are like, this is too straight for me?
Okay, it was Satellite Tavern on Interstate. It could have changed, but I'm just reading right now their Instagram and it says showing all UFC PPV fights.
Okay.
I don't know what a shambong is, Jay.
It's homophobic is what it is. It sounds like this place is not playing the Thorns game. Okay.
I just went in there and there was like a cloud of cigar smoke by people that I can tell don't smoke cigars because they were inhaling. Like that kind of straight guy where you're just like, you're not even doing it right. You know what I mean?
You're not even straight.
Like cosplaying straightness. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, I'm thinking like Top Golf is probably in there.
And I fucking love Top Golf, but yeah.
And I don't want to poo-poo straightness because we need those folks too. But I think that like in Portland, there's such a strong allyship and there's such a strong like understanding that like queer people give a little life, a little interior design, a little brevity,
a little style.
Helps everybody. It helps everybody, every vibe. So when it's like, no, we're trying to be like just straight vibe, then it's like, yeah, this sucks.
Yeah. And again, like they need their safe spaces too.
Yeah.
I'm 100% for it. No, it's not for me, but that is my Portland-centric toxic trait. The other one I have is that thinking that having to drive anywhere for more than 15 minutes is like too far. Like I'm just like, fuck that, I'm not going. And they're just like, it's literally 3 miles away. And I'm like, no, no, thank you. Which is why I never leave St. John's. I'm like, the bus ride is longer than 30 minutes. Where are we going? You know?
Well, that might be a St. John's problem and not. That's
true.
like, oh, you're like in Savi's Island or, you know, Bend? Do you live in Bend? No, St. John's. Okay. Yeah, not going.
Pretty much. And so I feel that like I'm just like, we're southeast. Oh, I'll see you never, friend, you know? But I think that is also a very like Portland toxic trait, that and also just like not leaving your neighborhood.
Well, I mean, I think it's like way bigger than I think this is universal. I mean, I was in Bend and Bend is separated by a river and it's like, oh, we don't go to the east side. And you're like, what? This place is like one pinky finger long. And you're like, you know, so I think it's just like everywhere is like, no, not leaving the neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, I want to hear what our listeners' Portland-centric toxic traits are, because I know there's so many more. Oh my God.
Send them in.
We're scratching the surface here.
Yeah.
So please, portland@citycast.fm. Send them to us. We will read them out loud next time we get a chance. Jay, thank you so much for going out, getting us this tape. It's always so wonderful to hear from our comedy scene. And where can we see some of these comedians perform? Like, do they have shows coming up?
100%. So if you want to check out Adam Posse, he produces a show every Wednesday called Dough at Mississippi Pizza. It's some of the best for the best price to see stand-up in Portland. And Amani Dene, she's got a show at Monster Box at Alberta Street Pub on the 13th of this month. And then Jed Arkley, he performs in the improv rock star group J Names. And their next show is April 3rd at Kickstand Comedy.
Nice. And what about you, Jay?
I will also be on that show April 3rd at Kickstand Comedy because I'm also in J Names.
Oh, because it's everyone named Jay.
It is.
I get it. I get it. All right.
Nice.
Thanks again, Jay.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Well, that's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thanks so much for listening. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's.